Welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and I live in South Wales in the UK, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Anita Bowl, and show notes can be found in the description box below. Hello! I hope you've had a nice few weeks. I've been quite busy the last few weeks as usual. Obviously, like most of you, I work in the week, but come the weekend I try and pack in as much as I can. I have been working on my kitchen, my home section. I have also been to visit my dad and stepmum who live near the Forest of Dean. And last weekend I went to a craft show in the NEC in Birmingham where I met up with the lovely Tina from Simply and Stitches. Hi Tina, if you're watching, it was really nice to meet you. And the craft show was great fun. I've been to the winter one in November before, but never the one in the spring. So that was nice, and I went with a friend and we stayed over and we called in to Tintern Abbey on the way home, and I will talk about that later on. I also made some purchases that I will also talk about later on. This time I'm going to start the episode a little bit the wrong way around because I have a finished object. I finished my Jade Dress, which is this pattern from Simply Sewing magazine. It's the second time I've made this dress. The first time I made it, I didn't really like the fabric. Well, I liked the print of the fabric, but it was a bit thin and I didn't have a very good fit, and I went wrong with the pleats. So this time I tried a bit harder with the pleats. I've still gone slightly wrong because the fabric slipped when I was sewing it. So in future, anything that I want really well lined up, I'm going to tack properly first. So anyway, I shall stand up and try and show you, and if it doesn't come out very well, I'll insert a little video. Move my chair. So here it is. It's got princess seams, and then the pleats come down. The princess seams join the pleats here. This is the one that's a little bit out, but because the fabric's so busy, you wouldn't really notice. It's got quite a high neck, and the strange thing on the pattern, it's a jersey, so it's a stretch, but the neckband pattern piece just goes down the length of the fabric and not on the bias, so it's a bit tight. I think it should go on the bias, but maybe they assume that you've got a two-way stretch fabric and mine wasn't. So anyway, I shortened it a little bit. See if I stand on my chair if you'll be able to see. Just below my knee, and it fits quite nicely. So I'm quite pleased. I think I'm getting a little bit better at doing the fit, although I don't know where I'm going to wear it, because could I wear Flamingo fabric to work? I don't know. I suppose I could, and I don't go anywhere where I could wear this, so that's a point I need to consider. Is when I'm making things, I need to think, where am I going to wear them? Am I going to wear them? And so I'm going to try and start making things that fit into my wardrobe, my lifestyle a little bit better. But I'm very pleased with this. And so that was the Jade Dress. And I have some more sewing plans, but I can't tell you about them until later on because they're incorporated with my acquisitions. I have some finished objects for you this week. The first being Harry's little fingerless gloves. They are finished at last, and he was over this weekend and I forgot to get him to try them on. He could have been a hand model and put them on, and it's actually quite nice weather today. In the UK we seem to be having a bout of really bad weather, storms and rain and wind, and then little pockets of nice weather. So we're on the nice weather pocket, which is great, but when the bad weather comes again, his little gloves will be here for him. I knitted them in the Heart and Soul yarn from Sirdar, and I used 2.75mm needles because this is the pattern here. I knitted him the smaller size when he was a bit younger, and in order to make the bigger size you just go up a needle size or two. So the first ones I knitted were in 2.25, and then the second pair, this pair, was in 2.75, and I believe you cast, yes, you cast on the same number of stitches, just because you're using a larger needle, they obviously knit up bigger. And that's a really nice pattern to do. And I quite like these. They're fingerless, but they haven't got those little finger sections, so it's nice and easy for him to put them on. So I shall be giving those to him. And that's my only finished object in knitting. I have some works in progress. The first one being Nicky's socks. Now these have turned out a little bit more problematic than I expected. I explained in my last episode that I wanted to knit my cousin Nicky a pair of socks, and I wanted to use this colour work pattern, but the pattern, you could get the chart on Ravelry, but you couldn't get the sock pattern, which didn't really matter. They said just use a general plain sock pattern and then just use the colour work. So I looked for a simple sock pattern, and I decided, I've got so many bits of paper in here, I decided to use the vanilla chocolate sock pattern, because it says using a combination of a mini gusset and a short row heel turn gives these socks a great fit. They will just pop onto your feet. This sock construction minimises pooling or colour changes caused by increasing stitches and is a fun way to use up small amounts of yarn. Well, I wasn't using it in you can't really see because it's dark, but that's sort of self-striping kind of variegated yarn. Anyway, I wasn't using it for that, but you increase slightly. You start at the toe, and then once you've knit the sock to, I think it's about 1.5 inches from the heel, you do some increases to make it a little bit wider to help get on your foot. And sometimes I find it's a bit of a tight fit around my ankle, so I thought that might be nice. And then it did this special heel where you don't have to pick up any stitches, so you had to do short rows and wrap stitches, and I haven't done many of those, and this is the third attempt at getting this heel in. I got my stitch count wrong, and you have to wrap the stitch and go back, and then the next time you wrap the stitch you have to pick up 2 wraps, so that was a bit fiddly in this dark colour, especially in the night. I couldn't really see it very well, so I did that, and then you have to decrease the extra stitches you've made, and you sort of get this little sort of seam in the middle of the back, and I wasn't sure if I really liked that, but I've knitted a bit further up, and it seems okay. I wouldn't necessarily do this pattern again, but I've done so much now, I'm going to do the other one the same, and I've just started the colour work, so I'm doing the windowsill. But now I've got the hang of those short rows. Hopefully the next one won't take me so long, and I was really looking forward to getting to the colour work, so it was quite frustrating when I had to keep ripping back the heel and doing it again. My next work in progress is just a little pair of trainer liners for Jodie. So obviously they're in her Mad Hair Bag by Eva from Coco and Flora podcast. I am using, just lost my row counter, this pattern. I should get these all open on the front page to show you. They're Neon Footies, just a very simple trainer liner by Kaitlin Maday, and it's a really nice pattern to use. I haven't got very far because I lost Jodie's foot. I don't know where I put it. I make cardboard templates of all my family's feet. That's where I've got so far. And the little stitch markers are from Chapelview Crafts. So I make templates of everybody's feet, and once I've made them a sock, I put them all in the same drawer, but for some reason Jodie's is missing. They can't be in a project bag because I always empty the project bags when I've come to their end and put everything away. So her foot wandered off But she came over with Harry, like I say, on the weekend, and I have a new foot. She has tiny feet, which is great for a sock knitter. Men's feet, not good, too big. So I'm well on the way with that sock, and I forgot to say I'm using Wendy Rome yarn in the colour, the shade 2006, which is Windermere, and I'm using my 2.25 Knit Pro Zings. They're nice and easy to work on, so when I go to Craft Club on a Wednesday I can take that project with me because it's nice and simple and we can chat. Last week we went and several people kept going wrong because we were all chatting, and if you've got any sort of pattern you need to follow, it's not a good idea to bring it to Craft Club. I also have a project all bagged up, ready to go. And it's in this bag. I'll put it down below. But she's from America, so if you do get a bag from her, lovely as they are, obviously you have to pay import duties and postage. So it does make it rather expensive. Now, Ellie from Craft House Magic is doing a craft along in March, or a shawl along. So I'm waiting for that to start, and I've got my project all prepped and ready to go. So I'm going to be doing the Close to You shawl by Justyna Lorkowska, and I've got this yarn all caked up ready to go, and it's really lovely yarn, and it is from Fire and Ice Yarns, and I got it from Narberth when we were on our caravan holiday, and there's her little label, and it's just a one-off skein. I don't know if it's a colour, let's have a look, see anywhere. It doesn't say a colour, but it's 80% superwash BFL and 20% nylon high twist, so that will be nice for that. And I have also got my little stitch markers ready to do this project, and these are beautiful, and they were a little gift from Tina from Simply in Stitches when we met her. I don't know if I can put something behind it just so you can see them. I'll do them one at a time. So there's a little sewing machine and a pair of scissors. I love all these little extra knitting things you can get nowadays. Didn't used to have anything before. And there's a little teapot or coffee pot. No, definitely tea. Always tea for me. And there's a little dress. Looks like the Marilyn Monroe one. And a very glamorous high-heeled shoe. And last but not least, a tape measure. So I think I will probably need quite a few stitch markers to mark out the shawl. I'm trying to take my time and do things a bit better so I don't go wrong so much. And I'm keeping them all in there nice and safe, waiting for Ellie to let me know when the knit along starts. I have one finished object, and that is the V-Stitch crochet blanket, and this was a free pattern from Black Sheep Craft Farm. I'm using the Debbie Bliss Eco Baby prints, which is organic cotton, and it's just a little baby blanket for Jodie's friend, and there it is. It's not all that big. I used a little edging, I just did a little edging all the way around to neaten the edges, and all the way down the sides I had to sew all the ends in. I didn't enjoy doing that. I think that took longer than actual crocheting the blanket. But they're all sewn in now, and I didn't want them to be seen on either side, so for a baby blanket, put it either way. So that's all ready to go to Jodie's friend, and I think the baby's due any day now, so I finished that in the nick of time. Sewing plans are mixed with acquisitions this week because, as I say, I went to the NEC and I bought some fabric there, but I had plans for the majority of it, so I didn't go too mad. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching Craft House Magic's podcast. Well, actually, it was two different episodes where I bought different things. Ellie is a very good enabler for shopping for crafty goodness. Now, I saw this book first, the Lunar Lapin, on Eva from Coco and Flora's podcast. She made a beautiful rabbit out of it, but I resisted the urge to buy it until Ellie also bought the book and made the rabbit, and it wasn't the rabbit so much that made me want it, it was the little armchair that you can make. Well, that was it. I had to have the book then. They do an Alfie boy rabbit, so I can do a rabbit each for my two grandsons. I should have marked the page because that would be much easier. I should probably flick through the whole book and still miss. Oh no, here it is. Look at that. I've got to make that armchair. And when we were in the NEC, the Lunar Lapin had a stall, and you could buy the book, and she had all the rabbits out, and this little coat they done in needle cord, and it was so cute, so cute. And they had the armchair there. It's like a proper slouchy armchair. I wouldn't mind having armchairs like that myself, so definitely going to make that. So I bought some felt while we were at the show, because we haven't really got anywhere around here that we can actually go and see the fabrics and also have people who will explain and help you. So there was a lovely man on the stall, but I can't remember the stall. I need to make more. When I go around to these shows, I get so excited I just buy everything, and I should actually make a note or take a photo of where I bought things so I can say to you, because they're bound to have websites. But I bought two big squares of the grey and two big squares of this greeny blue, which on my screen also looks grey, so I'm hoping it looks the right colour to you, so that I could do similar rabbits for the two boys but not exactly the same. So if I put them up together, you can see they're different. And then I bought some contrast fabric to do the ears and the feet, because the Lunar Lapins all seem to have the Liberty fabrics with the little flowers, which are very pretty but not really for boys. So I got this fabric because it goes with the grey and the green, and they can have matching ears and paws but different colour bodies. So I'll need to start getting on with those. Once I've made the rabbits, I'm going to make the armchair, and then I'll make them some clothes. Or maybe they should have clothes before they sit down, but I really want to do that armchair. Now, another thing I bought before I went to the show was this pattern, and it's the Kwik Sew K3954. Now, I was watching a new podcast to me, but she's been going for ages, called Viv Mom Sews, and she is a prolific sewer. I was watching her this morning, and she said last year she made 98 items of clothing. 98! And she said this year she's on track to do even more. And she also does tutorials, and she's very good, and she explains everything, and she also does it in real time, so it's not speeded up, and she explains everything. She assumes you know nothing, which is great for me because I don't know that much. And she made this on a tutorial. Now she put hers she did the hem of hers the same length. She didn't like the up and down, and I don't like that either, because I think if someone found out I sewed it, they would think I went wrong rather than it was a design feature. But I would prefer it straight anyway. So I've cut it out ready. I'm going to do this, but shorter and also with longer sleeves. So I've cut my fabric, I haven't cut my fabric, I have cut my pattern pieces out. I traced the pattern off and then cut it out, all ready to go. I'm going to sit and watch her tutorial at the same time as I do it. And I bought some fabrics especially for this pattern when I was at the NEC, and I got these two fabrics from Fabricland. I remembered to look where I got these ones from. So I got 1.5 meters of each of these. So there's this one, and I washed them and they're still a little bit damp because I want to iron them before I cut them out. And this is the Constellations. Is it Constellations or Constellation? Anyway, it's all the star formations, which I thought would be quite nice as a top with jeans. It's not too overly patterned, but it adds a bit of interest. So I'm going to probably do that one first. And then I got this one, which might be a bit childish, but my taste is obviously a bit childish though. And it's 1.5 meters again. And it's got tigers all over it. So I thought that was also nice to wear with jeans. Bit of fun, just a top. Just, like I say, I want to sew more things that I can just wear with jeans. I mostly wear jeans and tracksuit bottoms for dog. Don't think I'm really going to make dog walking clothes because I get snagged on trees and get covered in mud and other dogs jump on me and things. So it'll be just more casual things for the weekends and for when we're away in the caravan. And I also bought this dragonfly fabric because I just loved it, and I thought I'd make a dress, and I asked him for 3 meters, and I think he's only given me 2.5. It doesn't seem 3 meters. When you're in the shows, they just sort of pull the fabric along and measure it and cut it, but he only charged me £10, and it was £5 a metre. So I don't quite know what went wrong there. So I've either got 0.5 metre more than I should have, or 0.5 metre less, but for less money. So either way, I'll look for a pattern that I thought maybe afterwards I wouldn't make a dress because it's quite, I can't really show you how, it's quite thin and light. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it says on the selvage. But I thought I might make a shirt, and I've not made a shirt before, or anything really with buttonholes. So I thought a nice, loose, casual shirt that's quite simple to sew. So if any of you know of a pattern that meets that description, please let me know, and I shall look it up because I quite fancy that in a shirt. And the little gold bits, not sparkle, but they catch the light. It's really nice. I like that. I forgot to mention as well, the other thing that Ellie enabled me to buy were these little hangers that she showed on one of her episodes. And originally I think she made them for the little knitted jumpers that you can make, the Christmassy ones. But I thought they were going to be smaller. I thought they were going to be doll's house size. And I always get sizing for things wrong when I buy them on the internet, but it's perfect for Luna Lapin and Alfie's clothes, and also for those little jumpers that you can knit, because I wouldn't mind doing a few of those around Christmas time, especially if I knit Harry and Jack some jumpers this winter. I can use the leftovers to make little matching jumpers. Maybe I can make little jumpers for their Alfie rabbits if they fit. If the pattern fits, maybe I'll adjust the pattern so they can have little matching jumpers. So much fun. I love making things. It's so much fun because you can just let your imagination go wild. So I think that's everything I've been working on. Some of my weekends have been a bit busy doing other things. I won't show you the kitchen this time because it's not complete yet. I have painted the back door and done the skirting boards. I've given the quarry tiles one good wash and scrub with that chemical cleaner. They have come up a little bit better, but it's still not very good. I'm going to do another scrub of the floor. And then I was thinking, if it didn't really work out, rather than put a flooring on top, I might see about painting the floor with floor paint. Not done that anywhere before. I saw some online. I was having a little look to see what sort of things were out there, and there's Rust-Oleum chalk paint for floors, and you can use that on wooden floors or concrete. Now, most of my kitchen floor is quarry tiles, but there are parts that are concrete as well. So I thought, well, I could try it, because the worst that would happen is it would look awful. And I was going to put a different floor covering over the tiles anyway, if I couldn't get them clean enough. So there'll be nothing lost there. So I might do that. And today, Josh has promised he's going to put my Roman blind curtain rail up above my kitchen window, because I don't want to start making the blind till the rail's up, just so I can measure it properly and get all the measurements correct. So hopefully I'll be doing that. And this afternoon, because I'm off today, I might start on my little constellation top, because I'm quite excited to do that. And hopefully I'll have some more wonderful things to show you next time. So I won't be recording now until the end of next month. I'm just looking around for my diary. I'm trying to do the very last Monday of the month. So I'm not quite sure when that is in April. So the best thing would be to do, and which I would love you to do, is subscribe and click the notification button, and then when my next episode comes up, you will be notified. But hopefully it will be the last Monday of the month, and that will be quite exciting because I will have been away for Easter, because I'm going away with Jodie and Matthew and the children, and with Martin. I think we're going to North Wales to a cottage, so I'll try and put some footage in of that. And then also, the day before I podcast at the end of the month, I'm going to Wonderwool, which is a wool festival in Wales, and it's great fun. I've gone for the last few years. It's absolutely freezing because it's in the Royal Welsh Showground, big barn things that they keep all the animals in, and the floors are concrete to keep it cool for the animals, but blinking freezing for us. So lastly, I've got Walkies without Charlie, and I'm sorry about that, but she still doesn't like going out very much. Well, I thought I'd put in some pictures of when we went to Tintern Abbey. Now, I've got some notes for this. I thought I might try it a little bit differently this time and put the photos in over the top while I tell you about it. So, my friend and I went to the NEC, and we decided on the way home, as it's about a 2-hour drive, we'd meander off a little bit and call in somewhere on the way home just to make the most of our weekend away. And it was a really nice day, so we decided we'd go to Tintern Abbey. Now, the last few times I've been there, it's had scaffolding all over it because they've been renovating it. But the scaffolding, I'm pleased to say, is now off, and you can see the whole of the Abbey, and it is absolutely stunning. If you like Gothic architecture, you will like Tintern Abbey, because that's what it is. And this is where I need to look at here. It's built on the banks of the River Wye, on the border between Monmouthshire in Wales and Gloucestershire in England. And there are some lovely walks on either side of the river, and there's a bridge that takes you across. There are some lovely places to eat. There's some restaurants, cafes, and also the pub that I like to go into. It's very nice. There's a nice conservatory. They've got a log fire, proper country pub. Love it in there. There's also well, it's a second-hand bookshop, but it's an antiques bookshop. So if you go in there, they have some very expensive books, but also children's books that you might have remembered from your childhood that are now very expensive and you wish you kept yours. At least I know I do. And there's a craft village, and there's several little shops all in a cluster. There's tea rooms and there's a little pond, and the staff are really friendly and lovely. And there's one of the shops just sells everything handmade from local crafters, and the other one sells all quirky things. They're just really nice shops. There's a clothes one with outdoor clothes and unusual things in there. It's all really nice. And also on the little street, I can't really say high street because it's such a small place, there is a new knitting and sewing shop, and it's called, reach over, get my piece of paper, crafted, I don't know what you would say. I shall put it up there. And she has that website, which I will put down below, and her telephone number, because they are doing workshops on sewing. And I said, I've got an overlocker and I'm not really sure how to use it properly. And they said they will give you private lessons. You just have to ring and arrange a suitable time and go along, and they will teach you, just me on my own, for 2 hours, £35. Can't say fairer than that. And Tintern's about an hour and 15 minutes away from me, and it's only about 15 minutes away from my dad lives, so I could go and stay with them for the weekend, do my course, and go back to them, have a glass of wine with them. So that's quite a good plan, I think. So that's everything this week. I hope you have a nice few weeks until we speak next, and I shall see you soon.